Go for a kick like whisper.
But look, happy to be here again, man. Welcome back into the space. Good day to each and everyone. Remember, the morning insiders here, Nicardo Media House people. The best way to support the channel is to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. And the newcomers, you don't know, are the big bad morning insider. Like up the video, subscribe, and you get your daily updates on what is going on around the Reggae Boy players. But big news, man. Big news. Huge news coming out yesterday around Dojan Whisper Richards. 4-4 a kick like Whisper. You understand? I mean, look, can't get any better. Yeah, it just can't get any better at this moment. Dojan Whisper Richards will be amongst the senior setup for Curacao. Yeah, and a lot of people would have heard it, but look, I'm happy. The Dojan Whisper Richards fan base locally in the diaspora all over the world will be happy as well. Looking forward to see their young prodigy player getting back a recall up into the national team. It's been a while. I think the last call up came around in some Nations League around Alf Grimson. So it was a while since Whisper getting a call up for the national team. We have known what happened in the past of that little injury derailed the player career, but he's back up. He's ready to kickstart his career back again. Full 90 minutes in the tank over the weekend. So the 4-4 a kick up, the 4-4 a giddy up like one of them ass over Cayman and track. You understand? So I mean, the Whisper fans I'm happy, the Fortress fans I'm happy, me happy, want to see young players around the team as well. So who don't want to see a Dojan Whisper? Look, Whisper is one of the biggest talent that came out of Jamaica over the last couple of years. One of the biggest talent. The jump that he made, it was huge. But would you say the Craig Butler rant on social media caused all of this? I know I'm not sure, but hard done by again, by Trevante Stewart. I mean, the player would be looking in like, what more can I do? I mean, should I go on social media and rant about the selection issues around the national team? I don't know, but I think Trevante Stewart called up will come in due course. Still a young man, still have a lot to prove. Still a lot games left in his career. His career really just started to kickstart in the right way he wanted to go. But Dojan Whisper Richards and Ian Frey, that's where I'm talking about today. But I also talk about Ian Frey with some transfers swirling around the player, and also looking forward for him going into that crucial game on Friday in Curacao. Big game, huge game, for Ian Frey. Seems like he will be that player that will fill the void for, the missing piece for Isaac Hayden, who is going to serve a suspension for yellow card accumulation. So look, Whisper, man, I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm so happy that the player can actually get back a call up to come and represent, to come and join the soldiers on the battlefield to help fellow teammates as well. Yeah, to help them to try to get the team over the line for 2026. And knowing Whisper coming back, knowing the passion he have for his team, the passion for his national colours, want to get back in the true blues as well for Chelsea. I know one eye was looking at 2026. This is the time. Yeah, this is the time for Dojan Whisper Richards to feature around a World Cup qualifying squad, and this will be a big moment. This will be a huge moment for Whisper and the Whisper family, the Richards family as well, the Phoenix family as well. I mean, look, we saw young Semo Reed is in the team as a teenager. Dojan Whisper Richards again, young youth, young prodigy, young prospect. One of the most sensational talent that coming out of Jamaica over the last couple of years. You understand? Big jump from schoolboy football to a Premier League academy playing to, so being, on pre-season tour with Chelsea senior team. So what more can he do? But it seems like everybody young sensational goat is back. Some people call Whisper the goat, the young goat of the pack. With that saying, Kaheem Dixon, got big moves out of, the Jamaican Premier League as well. Not one of the biggest moves, but at the time was a League One team. You understand? But these are the players who want to see around the national team. Young players, teenagers that you're looking at they will be around the setup for the next 3 to 4 cycles, trying to get the team over the line again for 2030. Would be, still young, will be in their, early 20s. Some will be in their mid 20s, some will still be in their teens, because the young ones are rising up. You understand? So Whisper is the hot topic, and look at the level that Whisper played even before he got injured. He showed that he was above the level of where he was played for the PL2. Really started out slow. That will be acceptable because of coming back for a lengthy spell on the sideline. Yeah, that would have been acceptable of getting back into his groove. But for me personally, as much as I said, I'm not seeing the Dujan Whisper Richards that I saw in that first season when he just stepped off the plane and landed in London and jumping at the True Blue colours for the first time and started to beat down the door for Chelsea PL2 team. Many people have high hopes for him at that time, and like the Chelsea fans was like, yo, who is this young fella? Yeah, who's this young fella? And he is above his peers in the academy. It shows, but for now, he's not really showing that 100% level of dominance that I saw in the first phase of him playing in the PL2. But you could see that he's getting back into his groove. You could see that he's feeling back, the mojo, getting his feet wet back again. First 90 minutes in the tanks, and seems like Macaron, that's all they need. And that's all Chelsea need, to see that the player is ready to go fully 90 minutes. So let's see what's going to happen. But the future is bright. The future is bright. You see, I'm saying that, I emphasize that a lot. The future is bright for the national team to see all these young players coming through the door. Many times, when I was a youth, it was the other way around, where they glorify, experienced players. No, when I'm getting older, not playing sports anymore, but I mean, they more glorifying, young talents, even though what Jamaica call young, it's still old, to the wider scheme of the world. But Whisper, you would say he's probably old in the wider scheme of the world, but when you look at a Yamal at 17 doing, that work, doing fantastic job, for FC Barcelona, getting on the podium of the Ballon d'Or before him even reach 20. So what we call young, the world, really bypass that. But big hopes of Whisper. But my other assessment around Whisper is that this is the moment, if you get the opportunity, let's go out there and grab it with both hands. Remember the game that you played in the Gold Cup versus Trinidad and Tobago, where you picked up that ball, I think, over his half and just started to run with it. Being dynamic, being aggressive on the ball. Use your power, use your strength. Use your skill set, use your dribbling skill, to get by player, glide past player, and then use that brutefulness, that shot, that power shot that him have. He have a Whisper of such a beautiful kick that not many of his peers at his age can really kick the ball that hard. Remember, that's Butler DNA of kicking the football hard. You have that little technique part. So I know the players coming up to Phoenix, they really can hit that football really hard. And Whisper, him have a rifle in 9 foot. So when him unleash it, not many keeper can stop that when it really traveling the pace that it's supposed to be traveling. So I mean, big move, and hopefully, look, I know I've heard a few or I should call them journalists, or people that cover the Chelsea youth teams as well, that talk about Whisper of, the high hopes that they had for him before he got injured, where they just want him to come in, get his feet wet in England, get used to what it is to play for Chelsea, get used to the environment, the English weather and everything, and what will happen the summer that just passed, that try to get him out there on loan, try to get him to play first team setup. And at the time, other teams in the lower tier, especially League One and Championship clubs, were a little, inquiring about, the signature of Dujan Whisper Richards, to come and a shorter loan, long-term loan, just to get him into their setup and to improve that talent. So that would have been the same case at this moment, so that still the same case, the same situation surround Dujan Whisper Richards at the moment for Chelsea, that get back off the the treatment board, get back on the grass, get back fully fit, get used to playing 90 minutes, back to back, every 4 days and stuff like that. And then, they will assess his career again. And then, we know that a loan move will come. But if he continue, look, he's not really playing bad, but the standard I needed to rise up a little bit. But if he continue to rise above the standard and start to, make progress as games goes by for Chelsea Youth Academy team, I'm pretty much sure that there might be a chance, and I'm not sure if it's going to be big or a slim chance, but might be a chance that Whisper will actually, maybe a loan deal in January will be suitable for the player to get that first team experience playing week in week out versus senior men's team, coming up against some tough teams in the lower tier, just like what Kyle Dixon is doing at this moment. So want to see Whisper get the best out of his career and the player, the determination that he have to fulfill his dream and to actually reach the heights where his potential is going at this moment. It's frightening. Yeah, it's very frightening of where Whisper can go. Look, Craig Butler said where Whisper was at 17, Leon Chippy was nowhere near that. He would have trained both players. He would have known these two young players at the age of 17 very well at that age. So being on the training ground day in and day out with them, would have seen everything. So who to judge? Who to judge him and to make that assessment has to be Craig Butler. So I believe him to some what I really kind of believe him to a level of degree of Whisper is right there at age 17 compared to a Leon Chippy Bailey. The only difference that Chippy start to play man football real quick at around of 17, 18. So hopefully Whisper, at still a young man getting there, coming back off an injury, he can get up to that standard real quick. But Ian Frey, in the team again. Yeah, finally on the land. Finally tasting and gracing the land of 876 in the colours, training, being in camp, over the last day or so, looking forward to get, with the team to land in Curacao, any moment today as well. So big day for Ian Frey, but also there's a few news that's winding up around the player career at this moment. Is it that Ian Frey Inter Miami career is coming to an end? We know their season will end in December. His contract is coming to an end as well. But news has been thrown around that other clubs out there in Europe as well really want the service of Ian Frey. We're looking to capture his service and a free contract. But the Inter Miami team, they're looking forward to see if they can extend the player contract. They said that he's a important player for the project. They really want him to stay. But again, at the age of 23, 24, I think he's 24, someone that been around around the blocks of Inter Miami, Fort Lauderdale, the Inter Miami, to then the senior team for the last 5 years. Would have wanted to at least taste something, a different, taste a little bit of what Europe have to offer. And these are the teams that you want to see regular boy players link with. Teams in the Belgian Pro League, teams in England in the Championship, teams in Germany as well. I see that they said Gent, 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 and also Dusseldorf from Germany. Teams from the Championship is looking at the player and try to monitor the situation. If anything, they can jump on the case and try to snap up the regular boy player. But big moment. I would love him to go out there in Europe and to try to play European football, to expand his career, playing at a higher level. That will actually enhance the player quality and let him try to hit the ceiling where he can actually reach. I think he can be a very decent right back, very good right back in the CONCACAF and a decent right back over there, in Europe as well. I think there's a space for him, very technical on the football, the IQ level of reading the game, it's very good. And when, you're not really blessed with pace, but when you can read the game, your position awareness is very good on that pitch. and the passing and the high for your position and the detailing around your position and how you can play that role and fulfill what each and every coach wanted from you, then there will be a place for Ian Frey somewhere in Europe, in one of Europe top 5. We don't have many players in Europe top 5 leagues. And when you talk about that, we see Leon Bailey soon to make his debut in the Serie A. Ethan Pinnock is playing in the English Premier League. We don't really have much players playing at the high level. So we would have loved to see at least Ian Frey take that opportunity, but more so go to the club that will guarantee you a regular starting spot in that starting level, where that team will help to develop and help to give you that time to settle and to wet your feet around in European football. It's not just jump into deep waters into Europe and lost in the wilderness. It's easy to get lost in the wilderness in Europe. So it's all about that team that's going to trust him, giving the game time, and to give him that further development that they would have really need to get used to and get him up to speed of European football. So that's where I leave it. Hopefully we can see Ian Frey on the pitch coming in the next coming days. Let's see if he's going to be a right back, if he's the man that's going to challenge a Dexter Lemekisa for his role, or he's the one that's going to give the CDM position a good run for it. We don't really have a backup at this moment for Isaac Eden. I guess if he can play good and if he can hold that position down, then he can give it a good shot, and maybe he can say, hey, I deserve to be the double pivot. I deserve to be alongside Isaac Eden as the both double pivot to start in the game, or someone that's going to knock on the door of saying, coach, look, I can challenge Isaac Eden. It's right there. So let's see, but he have to take him opportunity, and let's see. It's interesting times ahead. Food for thoughts. Let's see if Ian Frey will play in that number 6 role. But again, people, on your way out, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. Salute. Ciao.